Hi everybody, it's Elaine here, the Animal Reiki Lady. Give me just a second because I want to make sure that I am live on the right page. I want to be on the Animal Reiki Lady page. And Facebook has been a little funky with the new live system, so I just want to be sure. And it looks like everything is good. All right, so allow me to take a drink while everybody's joining. We'll give everybody a second or two to jump live. I know it's closer to 11:30 than 11:15. But you know, when you live with 3 dogs in a small RV, yeah, you got to make adjustments. Mm. I see somebody sending love hearts, so I can't quite see. I have my phone with me too, because I want to be able to respond to comments. Thank you for the love hearts. Jana, it's very nice to meet you. I hope I said that right, Jana, right? Hello. Okay, so what do I want to talk about today? I have been waiting for the day that I felt inspired to go live about the story of Dudley, and today is the day. I'm coming to you live from inside the RV, so my shelter in place. I'm a full-time RVer, for those of you who don't know. My husband and I sold our home a few years ago, took the RV on the road and started going all over the country, and we landed here in beautiful Colorado where we actually have snow. So I've got all the blinds pulled because we'd all be snow blind otherwise. Yeah, April 3rd and we have snow. But this is the day that I really want to share the story about Dudley and how I got to do what I do. And I have a little frog in my throat, so hang tight for a second. And hello, hi, Caden, how you doing? It is very good to see you here. So my name is Elaine. For those of you who this may be just popping up on your feed for the very first time, that does happen. And I just had a conversation this morning with somebody who said, I don't even know where your video came from, but it just popped up in my feed 2 days after my dog had passed. So we're chalking that one up to coincidence. Okay, so how did I get to do what I do, and who is Dudley, and what was the impact that he had on my life? This is such a cool story, and I'm hoping that his human mama can join us. She is in another country. She is in France. So we'll see if she has a chance to jump in, and I will begin. And it doesn't, regardless, I know she'll catch it on the replay, and we will start. We'll start sharing his story. So my name is Elaine McCarty. I am the Animal Reiki Lady, and I help people improve their lives by learning how to connect with the animals in their lives. And I firmly believe, and in my experience working with so many different animals, that every single animal comes into our life for a reason. And that includes the pets who are our personal companions, the deer who runs in front of our car, the dog next door that won't stop barking at 2 in the morning. Every single animal comes into our life for a reason. Hi, Kelly. It's so good to see you. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. So this is how it goes. Kelly knows when I used to be in corporate, and Kelly, it's so good to see you. I so miss everybody that I used to work out with. So I was in corporate for a long time. I was in corporate for 35 years. And at the very end, towards the last 15 of that part of my career, I was a human resources executive. And I've always prided myself on being a no-nonsense, suck-it-up buttercup kind of person. Terry, how are you? It's good to see you, my cousin Terry. Hey, hi, everybody. It's so nice. It is so nice to be able to connect with people. Of all the things going on, and don't worry, I'm not going to go down that road, it is so cool that we are now doing all of these connections, and that even if it's remotely, that we're able to talk to all these people. Thanks for the love hearts. Okay, so I was in corporate for 35 years, and I had learned Reiki. If anybody's not familiar with Reiki, it's a Japanese system of stress reduction and relaxation. It is meant to rebalance our energies. So when we are feeling negative and stressed and we've got those knots in our stomach and we can't turn our brain off when we go to sleep, Reiki is a way that we can rebalance. And I learned Reiki because I had a family member who was suffering from a very serious illness, and I wanted to be able to assist her with that. But as I learned it, I was being pulled by animals. Like, I felt this call for animals. And I asked my Reiki master, my Reiki teacher, how do I begin to work with animals, and can this be applied to animals? And she honestly didn't know. And I could never figure it out. And I tried, right? So in humans, we're comforted by touch. We do this, we do this. we calm and we rebalance, and it relieves the stress. Well, when I try to do that with a dog, I try to do it with a puppy. Okay, so it was an 8-week-old puppy, and here I am trying to place my hands on the puppy, thinking that, yeah, that he was having no parts of it. So I thought that I really didn't understand what I was doing. But I was still in corporate at that time, and I knew that I wanted to transition out. After 35 years, I was tired of it. It was not leaving me feeling fulfilled. In human resources, I was known as the Terminator because that's what I did. They said, nobody fires people as good as you, Elaine. Well, yeah, that's not a reputation that I wanted, not at all. And I knew I wanted to move out of corporate, and I knew I wanted to be in Colorado. And at the time, I was working in Milwaukee. So I hired myself a business coach. Don't worry, we're getting to Dudley. I hired myself a business coach, and I think that even Dudley's humans may not be aware of this whole story. My business coach was located in the UK. She was in Britain, and it's okay. We did like Zoom calls. That's how, and she would coach me in different things. But that's a little bit further down the road. So I hired this business coach. Her name is Stacy. If you guys, if you want information about that, just send me a message, and I will share her information. So I hired this business coach. She's across the world in England, and I wanted her to help me transition out of corporate. And our very first call, she's very good at pinpointing. Immediately, she honed in on the fact that I talked about animals. She's like, what is Reiki that you're talking about? What is the animal thing you're talking about? I can tell that you are so passionate and so focused on animals. You've got to figure out a way to incorporate animals into your transition. And I was like, okay, yeah, I could do that. Now, this is the other thing. Remember, I am a no-nonsense, suck-it-up buttercup, corporate executive, and I was starting to meditate, and it felt really airy-fairy. But that's what because I felt like that was, it just started to come to me naturally. It's not that I sought it out, but I started to realize that when I meditated, I felt less stress. Reiki also taught me that. Reiki is often based in meditation, and it taught me how to quiet my mind. And so I started meditating right before I connected with her. So our very first call, she tells me, you got to hone in on these animals. Hi, Rebecca, how you doing? And so I did. The second meeting, so I was meditating the morning of our second call. It was my second call with a brand new business coach. She really didn't know me too much from Adam. We had connected a little bit online. I had followed some of her work and commented here and there on Facebook and Instagram, but that's about as far as it went. She really did not know me, and I really didn't know her. So the second, someone's trying to reach me on my phone. That's all right. We're just going to quiet that. My second meeting, I'm meditating before our meeting because I want to be open. I want to receive. I want to learn. So in my meditation, I got a visual image, and it was the first time this had ever happened to me. I got a visual image of a dog, and it was a full-size poodle. I can picture it so clearly in my mind. If you see the picture, I think I posted it here. The picture, I think I posted it in the announcement. It was a full-size poodle. I could picture him so clearly in my mind. I was like, oh, I wonder where that came from, that I have in my meditation. I have this visual of a dog. So I just kind of leaned into it a little bit. I just thought I'd have fun with it. Hang on while I quiet the phone. I thought I'd just have fun with a little bit in my mind. And I see this dog, and I got what I normally get now. So when I connect with animals, what I generally receive are occasional images, and usually they're very vivid, the image, and I get what I call blocks of thought. I have no other way to describe it than it's like a download of thoughts, and I don't know where they come from, and they're not mine. So as I was doing this meditation, I had a sense of this dog, and this was long before I knew anything about anything, and the dog sent me a block of thought that said he was cold, that where his bed was located on the floor, and this is all coming to me in like one thought. It was not like a stream of consciousness like I'm saying it here. I got an image that he's cold, that his bed on the floor, wherever his bed is, there's a draft, that it is causing his arthritis to act up, that it makes him feel old and cranky and unhappy, and if I would please tell his human that his bed needs to get moved. This all comes to me as like one big block of thought. So I come out of my meditation and I'm like, now what do you suppose that is all about? I had no idea who the dog was. I had no idea who the human was. I've never thought of anything like this before in my life. And but it was time to jump on my call with Stacy. So I took a huge, ginormous leap of faith. And when we got on the call, I said, I just got to tell you about this really weird thing that happened to me in my meditation. I was meditating about this dog, and I told her what I just told you. And I said, and his name came to me. His name is Duncan. And she said, it still gives me chills to think about this. She said, no, his name is not Duncan. It's Dudley. And I said, what? How do you know? And she said, because the dog that you're describing is my mother's full-size poodle. Now, I was not there yet. I was like, okay, so maybe it is your mother's full-size poodle, but why would that dog, I've never met your mother. I've never met your mother's dog. You guys live in the UK, and I just didn't believe it. So she went to her mother's home because she wanted to confirm this. She went to her mother's home. The two of them got down on their hands and knees where the dog's bed was, and her mother lived in, and I've since been there, her mother lived in this really cool, super cool, if you can picture, like those of you here, us in the UK, when you can picture in the US, picture like this home, it's made of stone, and there's stone and wood and steps, and there's a lovely garden, and it was just such a cool British home. They got down on their hands and knees, and sure enough, right where the dog's bed was, there was a gap in the floor where the draft was coming in underneath a stone into the house, right on Dudley's bed. And so Dudley, who at the time I think was about 10, maybe a little bit older than she was, maybe he was a little bit older than that. I can't remember exactly. He was acting that way. He was acting arthritic. He was acting old. He barely got up. He barely moved. He didn't do much anymore. So they took it upon themselves to move the bed, and they shifted it someplace different. And within a day, he was back to being his puppy self. Stacy contacted me. Her mom contacted me and said, I don't know what you did, but we moved his bed, and he is just like the puppy that he hasn't been in forever. And at the time, I still did not make the correlation of what really happened between that. So that's a simple part of the story, that he reached out to me, and you might say, okay, coincidence. And yep, I was right with you. I was thinking coincidence, except that part of the message that I got was that I needed to really lean into what I was feeling from him. And he continued to be connected with me. Within 1 week of all this happening, within 1 week, I was accepted. I can't even describe for you how quickly it all happened, but I found a teacher who would teach me how to meditate with animals, and who would teach me how to lean into this. And I went within 1 week and got into this meditation class where I truly learned animal Reiki, and I learned how to connect with animals on this one-to-one basis, and how to really deeply through meditation make an energetic, spiritual connection. It's based in love. It's based in compassion. And I started learning what would become my animal Reiki practice. I spent an intensive weekend working with exotic animals, and this whole time, and I know that Stacy and Chris, I know that neither of you know this, Dudley has been with me this whole time. I tell the story often of Dudley. I tell the story of how he first came to me, how he opened the door for me. Dudley literally opened the door, a dog I had never met. Where did this come from? And we're not done yet, because this story is not over. How did a dog that I had never seen or met know to reach out to me, know to connect with me through a meditation, know exactly how to send me a block of thought that was what he needed? And he never doubted it for a second. I doubted it like crazy. Where did this come from? I didn't understand, but the more and more I practiced, the more I understood how to connect with animals. And now, as you guys know, it happens no matter where I go, whether it's wildlife, animals at the zoo, animals who have passed, my current dogs. It's now like the floodgates open. Dudley literally opened the door for me when it comes to connecting with animals. And he's opened it even further just recently. So let's see. Where did I want to go with the next part of my story? So I got to meet Dudley in person. There you go. Later that summer, I went to England because I was going to meet my coach Stacy in person. We were hosting a really cool little event, and I flew myself over to England. And I got to meet Dudley. And when I walked through the door, I knew the house, I knew the dog, I knew everything. I just knew everything. It felt so comfortable and so natural. And Dudley greeted me as if we had been friends for a million years, which we probably have. And it was so cool to meet Dudley in person. And it was probably one of the best experiences of my life to know that. And it usually works the other way around. Like I usually meet a dog in person, then we have distance sessions. This time we had a distance Reiki session, my very first one. I didn't even know what it was. And then I got to meet him in person, and it was like two old friends who had finally met after a long, long time. And it was so cool to see him and to meet Chris and to meet Stacy and that whole thing. But okay, so now we're going to fast forward. I continued to practice. I continued to learn with my teacher. I continued to practice with every animal I could possibly practice with, and until it became my own thing. And now it's what I do. I'm no longer in corporate. I still have a little bit of ties to corporate. I still teach because I like to teach. But my primary focus is connecting with animals, helping people improve their lives, helping animals who are crossing to the Rainbow Bridge, and that is the next part of the story. And Chris, I'm pretty certain that you don't know even this whole story, because what it took, the same way that Dudley knew to reach out to me then, before I even knew how connected I could be with animals, it took the same series of events when it came Dudley's time. And I'm going to cry. Oh, grab a tissue. When it came Dudley's time to cross to the Rainbow Bridge, which he just did a few weeks ago. Okay, grab a tissue. I did have one. Hang on. Okay, paper towel, that'll do. Okay, so I take students now. Now that I've been doing this for several years, I learned Reiki years ago. I've been doing animal Reiki as my primary focus for probably 5 years, 3 years. I've totally lost track. And now I teach it as well. So I'm now a teacher of animal Reiki. And I teach group classes, and I teach at sanctuaries with rescued animals, and I teach also individuals. There are some people who don't like a group class. They prefer the private experience. So I take private students. I had a private student who was in her level 2. There's 3 different levels of Reiki if you're not familiar. The first level teaches you the foundation. The second level teaches you how to really strengthen your connection and to practice from a distance. And then the third is the teacher level. But I was teaching level 2. So it was a student of mine who has been studying with me for a while. We're doing level 2, and I want to teach her how to connect with animals distance. And the first animal that pops into my mind is Dudley. Like, oh, I know that Dudley would be so up for this. And I reached out to Chris and I said, you know, I have a private student, and I would love for her to be able to practice with Dudley. I'm happy to ask Dudley's permission, which I always ask permission. I'm going to ask Dudley's permission, but I want your permission as well. Do you mind during one of her training sessions if we connect with Dudley? And she said, no, I don't mind at all. I think Dudley would love it. But here's the weird thing, Elaine. I was just about to reach out to you because Dudley has not been well. He's aging. He's 15, right? I think he was 15 when he passed the Rainbow Bridge. He is having trouble walking. He can't keep up with the other dogs. Sometimes he eats, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he drinks, sometimes he doesn't. And I suspect that his time has come to the Rainbow Bridge. And I was just about to reach out to you to see if you could meditate with him and let him know that it's okay. Let him know that it's safe to cross to the bridge. Let him know that he doesn't have to stay. She wanted me to actually help him make sure that he reached the Rainbow Bridge, which, by the way, every animal goes to the Rainbow Bridge. There's not, I've learned this so deeply, and especially from Dudley, not to ever worry about an animal crossing to the Rainbow Bridge. And so that's how we got, how Dudley and I connected, and my student. We sat down in a meditation, and he sent a very clear message that the reason he wasn't leaving was because he was there. He had to keep them safe. He was supposed to keep them secure, and there was something going on that he needed to stay there with them to make sure that they were going to be safe. Now, by this point, they were in France. They moved from the UK to France. So my student got to experience what it was like. Dudley connected with her immediately. I gave her no background information. I didn't want to influence that in any way. Dudley immediately connected with her and I. We had an amazing session where he shared information with her. This is where some of the information about the other dogs who were there. There was a couple things. I won't go into all the details because that's private for Chris. But it was and then I spent the next week connecting with Dudley. And Chris also. So it was a mutual thing. When I work with animals who are ready to pass, it is always not just with the animal, but with the human companion as well, because everybody is connected that way. Our animals pick up on our stress, our anxiety, our sadness. If you've ever watched any of my other videos, in fact, the very last one was about rethinking the way we say goodbye, because we don't need to impose our stress, anxiety, fear, sadness, pity on another animal. We can open a space of love and peace and compassion. We open our heart and it lets them be free, and then they can leave on their terms. So I connected with Dudley for a week, up until the time when it was his time to pass to the Rainbow Bridge. And Chris and I stayed close. We talked almost every day. Dudley and I definitely, every morning and every night, I included him in my Reiki meditation. And it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. And then she let me know. Chris said, today is going to be the day. We had to call the veterinarian because Dudley has stopped eating. He's stopped drinking. I can see that his eyes are glazing, that he is actually, that he's ready to go, and he's in an incredible amount of pain. And when that happens, and I tell this to every single client, I always support whatever decision you and your animal and your veterinarian come to. And it was very clear that Dudley needed a little bit of help to make it over to the Rainbow Bridge. He was still very focused on keeping them safe. I sensed a little bit of fear from him, a little bit of sadness. And I know that it was, but I knew that also he knew that it was his time to go. So Chris called and told me that the veterinarian was going to be coming to the house, and could I connect with Dudley before, during, and after the process? And the answer was yes, of course, absolutely. Excuse me. And that was the dog coughing over there. That wasn't me. So yes, I will absolutely. Now, the time difference meant that it was going to be 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, and I was totally fine with that. I went to bed early. I set my alarm. I got up and had the most amazing experience of my lifetime. There's no other way to explain it. To be able to connect, I'm going to try not to. I'm just going to try to not have my voice crack. To be able to connect with an animal as they're ready to pass to the Rainbow Bridge. I went into meditation, and I just sent to him that he was so deeply loved, that he is able to take that love with him, that all the love he feels now is just going to be so far expanded. He takes everybody's love with him. His family is safe. His family is secure. And when he does get to the other side, he's there. He's there to watch over them. He's there to protect them. Excuse me, runny nose. And he filled my heart with so much love. I have no words to describe just how deeply the sense of love was that I got from him. And he was sending the same to his family, I know. And so I felt at the exact moment when he crossed, he felt a little trepidation. He felt a little, then I felt some confusion. And then I knew that he wasn't there anymore in his body. And when he crossed is when he filled my heart with so much love. I can't even, the depth of the love they feel when they cross to the Rainbow Bridge. It's unbelievable. Okay, so I'm just going to take a deep breath for a second. And I got to share that with his human companions. He shared with them, he wanted them to be not sad. He wanted them to know that he was not only full of love, he had returned to his state of pure, perfect love. He had returned to a state, he described it as, to me, the block of thought that I received from him was that he was not just one dog anymore, he was all dogs. And it sounds so corny to say all dogs go to heaven, but that's the feeling I got, that all dogs together now watch over us. They protect us. They're there for us. He is their protector always. He is always there for them. And you can, and I know that Chris, I know you can. Everybody has the ability to sit down peacefully, quietly, quiet their mind, and allow their animal to come to them, even if all you feel is that sense of love. Just embrace it, and know that it's real. Know that your animal can connect with you from the other side, and it's all based in love. That's the secret to everything. It's the secret to absolutely everything. Even all the stuff going on around us now, just love it, embrace it, and know that you can connect with your animal. And the message that Dudley had for me, excuse me, runny nose, teary eyes. The message that Dudley had for me was that I need to speak, that I need to share, that I need to tell, that I need to teach, that I should not be quiet, that I should not be fearful of what others think, that there are so many people out there right now longing to connect with their animal, whether that animal is past or present. They're longing to make that connection. They need to know how. And so that's why I share these things. Dudley has been my inspiration from the very first day. What did it take for that dog to reach clear across the universe? Literally, I mean, well, clear across the ocean anyway, to somebody who we'd never met. I didn't even know who he was. I'd known a member of his family for all of 2 weeks. And then to have a student and to have him pop into my mind as the perfect practice, and to know that the reason that that happened was because he needed me to get in touch with them. He needed me to reach out. He needed me to know that it was his time to go, and he needed me to be there on the day that he left. And it was just simply the most amazing experience of my life, was to be with him when he crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And so that's what I wanted to share. And this is what else I want to share. So I'm in this. I'm all in when it comes to animal Reiki and sharing the kind of experiences that I do. There's a difference between animal Reiki and animal communication. That's a video for a whole different time. But if you are looking to connect with your animal, let me know and I will show you how. I will work with private clients. I have a group class coming up. We're still scheduled, guys. So one way or the other, we still are playing everything by ear. But if I firmly believe that we practice with live animals and with animals who have been rescued and are in sanctuaries, when we can practice with that depth of love that we offer to them, when we learn how to connect with those animals, I know that they'll find a way. They will find a way to help us make sure that we can work with them. Also, I'm thinking of all kinds of things. Everything's popping into my head right now as I'm thinking this. So if you're a vet tech and you happen to be unemployed at the moment based on what's going on, reach out to me. And if you want to learn animal Reiki, I'll figure it out for you. If you want to, I'm going to be offering classes, intro, you name it. I'm going to put a million different options out there for anybody who wants to learn, from $25 to $250. I don't care. None of that matters to me right now. What matters to me is that not only Dudley, but since Dudley, 3 pets in the past 10 days have come to me to assist them crossing to the Rainbow Bridge. And they have left me with the deepest, strongest impression that now more than ever, we need to make a connection with our animals. Many of us are sitting at home with only our animals as our companions. And how do we make the most of that relationship? That's what I want to do. So I'm going to continue to go live. I'm going to continue to share information. I am going to continue to post this everywhere. So if you guys are on Instagram, follow me there. I have started a fledgling little YouTube channel. It's small, it's little, but I would love your support. So when you go to YouTube, there's a subscribe button and there's a little bell that lets you know when I put a video up there. If you could click those 2 things for me, I would be forever grateful. The animals will be forever grateful, because I am in this for the long haul, and I'm going to share as much information as I possibly can to help us improve as our planet shifts. Just think about this. We are like on a global reset right now. Our whole planet is shifting. Nature is getting back to normal. The pollution is lessening. animals are freer. I mean, think of all the animals right now that, especially, I'm thinking about Colorado. People hike, people ski, people snowboard, and they go out on and into where the animals' habitat is. The animals right now have it all to themselves. There's just such a huge shift going on, and we have the most amazing opportunity that we have never had before in our history to connect with the animals in our life. And I want to be part of that. And if you want to be part of it, you just let me know. Send me a private message. Look at the different things that I put out there for what I offer. And I will be happy to work with you and help you make that connection. So thank you everybody for following along. I think I hit everything that I want to hit. And I can't wait for those of you who I am going to meet in person as soon as the animals make that happen. I can't wait, and for the future, I just can't wait. And for anybody who wants, if you do have a pet who is aging, who is suffering from terminal illness, and you would like assistance making that deeper connection, helping them ease their transition, helping relieve their anxiety, relieve their stress, relieve their pain, helping them make that crossover to the Rainbow Bridge, I would be more than happy to help you. Just let me know, send me a private message. Just click the little message button, which is somewhere. Click the message button, let me know, let's get in touch. I hope everybody has an amazing weekend, a beautiful day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am sending all the love from every single animal in the whole wide universe and sending you that love. Take care, and I will talk again soon. Bye. From me and Dudley. Bye.